In the wake of Roe being overturned, there's been a lot of commotion, let's say, about the idea of the Church of Satan's religious abortion ceremony. And this is not a new thing. If you've been in the trenches about pro-life stuff as well as Christian apologetics, you've known about this for a while. That Temple Satanists, Church of Satan, these, whatever you want to call them, pagans, I guess is a suitable term, have an abortion ritual, literally a religious ceremony for blessing a woman who is about to give birth, which of course is not even a new thing by their own standards, because of course this is something that pagans have been doing going all the way back to the earliest printed archaeological documents, essentially carved stone tablets and so forth, wherein people in Ephesus in the 1st century AD would bury live infants underneath the foundations of their home in hope that the sacrifice of that child would give them fertility and financial prosperity, as well as of course, very famously, as comes up quite often in these trenches, is the matter of Moloch and Chemosh and many of the other Mesopotamian and Canaanite gods and goddesses who would demand child sacrifice either through the fire, literally burning live infants to death, or some would require them to be buried alive, or to be stoned, or to be exposed, literally to be left out in an open field, to be carried away by wild animals, or to be thrown into a river, or whatever happened to be the icon of a specific deity. Almost all of them required the blood of the most innocent, literally human children, in order for whatever their supposed benefits to be purchased. This is a very old thing. It is not a new one. So if this is news to you, this idea that Temple Satanists, Church of Satan, and so forth have been making this argument, you are definitely very new to this battlefield. But I have bad news for them, that this is not what they think it is. So to kind of rewind just a little bit, the idea is that they have argued that in the wake of the overturning of Roe by the Supreme Court, that they still have a religious liberty protection for their, let's say, right of access to abortion, what they call reproductive rights, under the umbrella of religious freedom because of this abortion ritual that they conduct. Here's the problem. It's not protected under religious liberty. And it shows the ignorance of these people, under what they think religious liberty is, and then it also shows their ignorance of Supreme Court case law as well. In 1879, a man named Reynolds, who was a practicing Mormon, sued the American government, which was appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court, because he was indicted and arrested on charges of polygamy, which at that time Mormons still believed wholeheartedly and practiced in the practice, I guess that's the only other word I can use, the practice of bigamy or polygamy, the ability of a man to have multiple wives or spouses. And that he believed, or he argued, his lawyers argued, that because he is a practicing Mormon, that it is unconstitutional for for the American federal or state governments to infringe on his religious rights of freedom of expression because of the fact that Mormons believed, here the believed past tense, in polygamy, that it was part of their ritual or religious practice to do so. And the Supreme Court resolved in that case that no, it is not protected under religious liberty, that a person has the right to believe anything that they wish to believe. However, the American government, as well as any local, state, or county or city governments, have the right to police, limit, and restrict religious practices, behaviors, including but not limited to ritual practices that might involve harm or unsafe practices, as well as things like polygamy or bigamy. And so for all of these people, these Satanists who are, like I said, both ignorant of the definition of religious liberty and also the historic catalog of Supreme Court case law, they are going to be disappointed when they try to flex on this supposed defense of their precious murder of unborn children. And even if they do attempt to argue it all the way up to, and maybe even beyond, the Supreme Court, it will not stand, and they will lose. It is not the defense that they think that it is.